my core value is discipline and integrity. And so this is part of what I teach my clients is how to become a disciplined person.
Yes.
It's by following through with the commitments that you make to yourself. Every time you keep a promise that you make to yourself, you learn to love yourself a little bit more. And the reason why so many women especially have low self-worth is because they have broken the promises that they made to themselves most of the time because they are putting everyone else before them. I wanted to give your listeners a free gift. If this episode spoke to you or you're just looking for a little bit of guidance, the gift is a hormone reset starter kit. Only my paying clients get this. You're going to get one of my workouts. I'll give you a sample meal plan and a free one-on-one strategy Zoom to talk about what your next steps may be. So to get that, I want you to DM me on my website. It's CoachTiffanyOwen.com, CoachTiffanyOwen.com. DM me the word and I'll know that it came from you listening to this podcast, and I'll personally respond to it.
I am Sara Khliss. Welcome to 60 Minutes with a Woman. In this podcast, we share inspiring stories and real conversations with women who are making an impact. Here, you get to tune in with these incredible women and speak about resilience, growth, and meaningful change. If this episode inspires you, make sure to follow, like, and share because it's thanks to you that this show continues. Don't forget also to let me know in the comments what you want to see next. And wherever you're listening from, enjoy the podcast. Again, today we have an amazing guest, Tiffany Owen. And today we are going to speak about physical, mental health on the practical side. And we are going to dive into her deeply and powerful story. Welcome, Tiffany. It's a pleasure.
Thank you, Sarah. This is long overdue for sure. I'm so excited. It's going to be great.
That's actually very true. This episode should have been recorded a while ago, but I'm glad we're here together today. I am going to start by introducing you to the listeners. Tiffany, you are a transformational health and mindset coach, keynote speaker, and published author. You help others rise from the ashes of their past and reclaim the lives they were created to live. Your journey is not just the one of education and expertise, it's the one of survival, healing, and radical transformation. Tiffany, your book is called Wounded to Warrior: How to Participate in Your Own Rescue. And I have to say, when I opened the pages of the book, I could live your story right alongside you. It was powerful. You shared everything with us. It felt like we were really walking that journey with you. You were transparent. You shared everything from being a latchkey kid and feeling abandoned to the many traumas you open up about. And while reading it, I couldn't help but think you were just a kid. From the people who failed you and the ones who loved you, and ultimately the incredible strengths it took to finally love yourself. You allow us to dive into who you really are. And to me, this book is not just a book, it's an actual legacy because it opens up the horizon to everybody who's reading it to look at themselves in the mirror and say, finally, I'm worth it. Mm-hmm. I am worth it. And I want to thank you so much for that. It was very emotional. When I read it, I was shook at the end.
Yeah, that's exactly how I wanted you to feel. That intro was amazing. It's good to be reminded of, because it's been about 1.5 years since I published the book, and it's good to be reminded that it still has the ability to impact people like you just described, because that's exactly how I wanted you to feel. I wanted people to be able to place themselves in my story.
Yeah.
And all trauma is trauma, whether it's big T or little t.
Yes.
And was more than just me sharing my story. It's how I took responsibility in every area of my life and got out of a victim mindset.
That's exactly what you're just saying right now. And it's almost as if you give permission in this book to people to forgive themselves and also be held accountable for what happened to them, in a sense where it's your choice if you want to heal and it's your right to be happy. So I'm still having the chills. Listen, it's like I recommend this book 100%, but I don't want to put people in this mindset just right now, because I want to dive into your what you do as a coach first, and then we'll speak more about everything that happened that motivated you and helped you build this amazing program you have now for people. So tell us more about that. How did you get into wellness and fitness training?
Thank you. So before we dive into that, I think it's super important to remind your listeners to like this podcast, share it, give it a 5-star review. What Sara is doing is a mission, and it is not easy. It is so hard. So if this podcast impacts you, or you know someone that it may impact, please give her a 5-star review and share it, because that's how we get our message out. That's the only way we can. So do it now before you forget. I just like to throw that out there.
I love it.
Super, super important, because this is a tough, tough job. So I'm so proud of you for doing it. How did I get into fitness? So I'm 44, just to give a little backstory. I'm 44. I have 4 children, a 23-year-old, an 18-year-old, and my twins are 13. And I just became a grandmother in February. I know, it's crazy. I don't feel like a grandma. But
you don't look like a grandma.
What does a grandma feel like? So I actually got into fitness 24 years ago. So I've always done some sort of aspect with health and fitness with work. And I've had my own transformation journey. I've had to work for this healthy body and more importantly, my healthy mind now. But in the beginning, I was a young 20-year-old mother who wanted to stay at home with her baby. And this was something I could help people. And I got my certification, and it was my gift. It was my natural gift. I went from like 200 pounds to like 140. I had my own weight loss transformation, and people started asking me what I was doing. And so I was like, maybe this is my gift. I actually wanted to go into something in finance.
Ooh,
and so,
okay.
So this was something I kind of fell into, and it's become my whole life and my mission. But in the beginning, I was focused mostly on the physical aspect of it, because I didn't know any different.
Yes. And when did you decide that coaching was the way? I know you realized that people noticed that you were very successful in transforming your own body, but going into coaching is completely different, because now you are the mentor of all those people. So what got you to get there?
Yeah. So if you're listening and you're looking for your purpose, I come across that with a lot of the women I work with. They're looking for their purpose.
Okay.
And fortunately, even through everything I've been through, I knew I had this overwhelming desire in my heart to help people. I gave generously, and I still do. I even talked about that in my book. I was a living organ donor, so I actually gave my liver to someone with cancer, a stranger. So I had this overwhelming desire to give and serve others. Some people that comes naturally. That may or may not be your gift, but I knew it was mine. And I loved working out, and not everyone loves to work out. And so I took those two things and I combined them, and I was able to serve people through helping them get healthy. But there's a caveat to that, because the more I poured into people, the more I neglected my own self-care. And that's where I want your listeners to lean in, because it is so important to take care of yourself and know that you cannot pour from an empty cup. And I was amazing at my job, but I neglected myself. And that's where a lot of my final rock bottom came in, just to kind of tie that in, because I want your listeners to leave with, if she can do it, I can do it too.
Absolutely. Yes. And obviously now you started speaking about it, but I wanted to ask you about your core value. So I hear now there is a lot of self-care involved.
Yeah. And I love how you submitted some questions before, because it really got me to thinking. I was like, what would I say my core value for fitness is? And what came to me, because I haven't really thought about it, to be honest with you, my tagline is transform your mind and your body will follow. But my core value is discipline and integrity. Discipline is a form of self-love. And a lot of people,
I can see how.
Yeah, think sometimes that could be a punishment. Like, oh, I have to go to the gym. I have to drink my water. I have to eat healthy. And if you can switch that from I have to I get to, and then you can learn. And so this is part of what I teach my clients, is how to become a disciplined person.
Yes.
Because that's something that you have, it's by following through with the commitments that you make to yourself. So that's where integrity comes in. Every time you keep a promise that you make to yourself, you learn to love yourself a little bit more. And the reason why so many women especially have low self-worth is because they have broken the promises that they made to themselves, most of the time because they are putting everyone else before themselves.
Yes.
Would you agree with that?
Absolutely. Yes, absolutely. And the thing is that we give everything. When we speak about discipline, it feels something, like you mentioned, it's very harsh on the brain. It's like, oh, I have to discipline myself. The thing is, you do discipline yourself for everybody else. You're actually doing it. You're making sure you're showing up at work. You're making sure that you're taking care of your children, of your family. You're making sure that you're putting that gas in your car. You're making sure that, it's like all small things that you're doing every day to just, go through the day and handle everything and every expectations that people have about you. But you're exhausted when it comes to you. And now it becomes discipline in a harsh way, as if you couldn't rest.
It sounds good. But if you're like, gosh, but I try and I have to start over every Monday, you just feel like roadblocks keep getting in your way. Like, I tried, but then something came up with my kids, or I had to work late. There's all these things that are just coming at you that you feel like you have no control over. You have every intention on following through with the commitment that you make to yourself, but for some reason, things keep getting in your way. It's not totally your fault, but what I hope to bring you during this interview is that you have the ability to rewire your brain.
Yes.
And by transforming your mind and rewiring your brain and creating new programs, because most of us are on autopilot, you will become the best version of yourself, but it takes work and direction and guidance. And that's where hiring a good coach, whether it's me or someone else, can give you the blueprint to do this, because it is the only way that I have found that true lasting transformation happens. And I work with women. My oldest client right now is 72 and my youngest is 23. And it's been amazing to work with these women and teach them how to create a morning routine, a nighttime routine, a non-negotiable, what we call a power promise. We have a community and building integrity with themselves, because where do you start?
Absolutely. I love it. And the thing that I want to add to this is that having a coach that cares about you, not the coach that you find at the gym, nothing against them, But, I've looked into your program and it's like you mentioned, it's a community. It's empowering for your clients to work with you. And that's, I think, what makes a world of a difference.
Yeah.
I want to ask you something. I wanted to ask you two things, but I'm going to start with the one that I was planning on asking you first. I know that, through what you said earlier, your core value has evolved, right? Because you said I exercise to look good, and then I didn't know any better. So what has changed now?
So the first thing that comes to my mind, and I want your listeners to really lean into this, because by hearing what I'm about to tell you, first, it could trigger something in you that could lead you to, I might need to change something about my life, or it could give you the strength to know that there is hope. So about a little over 3 years ago, I think this is a good place to share my story, because it did change into mindset work more than physical. I hit my final rock bottom. I tried to kill myself for the 4th time. I've had 4 suicide attempts since I was 16. And it wasn't that I really wanted to die. I was just so tired. I couldn't fight anymore. I had no more fight left. And on the outside looking in, I had a 6-figure business. I was coaching thousands of women, great marriage. But I will also tell you that I was married 4 times by the time I was 29. So I had not healed from the multiple abusive marriages. There's rape in my life. There's addiction, mental health issues, unwanted abortion. And I write about all of this in my book, among other things. So I thought I had moved on from those things. But something had not been healed, or I would not have done that. And I had put my focus on helping and coaching all of these people living a life of service. But what that really did was it helped me to delay taking a look at my part in every area of my life.
Yes.
I had to take responsibility. I love Wayne Dyer, and if you're not familiar with him, he's passed away, but I've immersed myself in Wayne Dyer's work and Joe Dispenza's work. And Wayne Dyer has the quote, well, he talks about taking personal responsibility, and he said that means to respond with ability. And that means I took responsibility for when my half-brother raped me when I was 23, and this can be controversial, but I want you to stay with me. What was my part? Because in order to forgive and move on, I had to own my part. And when I could really understand this, and I'm not letting this person off the hook, I am a victim of sexual abuse, but I don't want to be a victim anymore. I'm a survivor. And because being a victim was no longer serving me, because it was leading into self-sabotage, vicious cycle of self-sabotage, where I was working out, I was eating healthy, I looked pretty good for my age, but I would drink a lot most nights of the week, and I would start over every Monday too with intentions of not drinking and eating bad. So something wasn't right. And so going back to the situation with my half-brother, and I write about that in my book, what was my part? For example, I was drinking a lot that night, and I had blacked out drunk. That's my part. I should, and does that give him the right to do what he did? No. And if you are looking at it that way, then you're missing my point. My point is, by owning some part of that, I can now get my power back. I can forgive the person who hurt me, and I can look at them with compassion, because hurt people. Because being resentful and harboring unforgiveness was only killing me. It was not killing the person who hurt me. Yes. And I kind of went off a little bit of everywhere, but I feel like that's important. So mindset. So after 4th suicide attempt, I got to go to treatment. I got to go to a treatment center for addiction. And I also got to go to a trauma treatment center, and I feel very blessed to have been able to do that. And I knew this was life or death for me, and I treated it like that. I'm a spiritual person, and I truly believe that God gave me these tools while I was in treatment, and it's tools I talk about in my book that I just started doing, like writing a declaration paragraph, meditation, writing my wins down. These are all things I do in my coaching. And before I knew it, because I was so disciplined and structured with it, and I treated it like life or death, it was non-negotiable, my mind began to change. And then it was crazy. About 6 months after coming home from treatment, I'm doing all these things, rituals, different things that I've habits, new habits, because you have to replace a habit with a habit. I started to see a change in the way I looked. I lost 20 pounds. I look and feel better now than I did in my 20s. And I have some pretty like crazy transformation pictures from drinking to not drinking and doing mindset work. And I am still changing. And I love seeing the transformation of my clients. Even it doesn't matter how old they are, whenever they put my tools into practice and they do them, usually 3 to 6 months, we start seeing a change. The weight will fall off. My workouts are amazing. The nutrition part is great. But what really makes what I do different are the mindset tools, the accountability, and the community that I incorporate with that. I do not know of another model out there that is like mine. I don't. And it works every time.
Tiffany, thank you. Right? Because once again, I read your book, but we never spoke about those things. So hearing you sharing so much is very moving. But I still want to thank you so very much for the beautiful human being you are. I think that if people end up getting into your program, they're going to earn way more than a good physique. They'll come out of that with a full therapy on surviving, but not only, also thriving. Yeah, I was going to ask you a question about time allocation, but it feels very shallow right now.
I'm like, let's just, yeah, I'm like, go big.
Let's do it. Let's do it. Okay, so your program, now that we spoke about it, I know that one of the number one issue with people, and we spoke about it a little bit, is time allocation. So let's say that somebody is very motivated. They want to change in their lives. They're like, I want to work with Tiffany. She's amazing. When do they fail to allocate the time that they should allocate to working out and actually getting involved and signing up with you? Why do you think that is? And what should they do to change that?
I think that's a process. And I don't believe there's a one size fits all approach. So me working with someone who is retired versus like a stay-at-home mom or a working mother, which I get to work with all types, and everyone thinks they don't have time. And where I would push back on that is you make time for what's important to you. And you just may not be at the place where you are important to you.
Okay.
And we all have the same 24 hours in a day.
Yes.
How do we use it? And sometimes just a little guidance with how we are managing our time and blocking our time, because when you say yes to something, you're saying no to something else. This is part of what I walk through people with. Do you have a morning routine? Do you have a nighttime routine? What are your boundaries? Does your environment support your goals? Because willpower doesn't work. So all of these things that we think we don't have time for, just by getting a different perspective from someone like me, or I actually have a team that works with me that helps me coach my clients who have been through my program. And for instance, one is she's a nurse and she's 55, and her transformation, she's been with me 2.5 years. Is incredible. So where she was putting her time is going to be different than the other person who helps me on my team, Eliza. She's got a 5-year-old and an almost 3-year-old, and she's a CRNA.
Yes.
And she went to bed late, and she got up right before she had to go to work. And this was like, where are we going to fit our workout in? And then she has to have time for her children and her husband too. So now she gets up like at 4:00 in the morning. That is not a requirement when you join me, but it almost happens every time. And we set the tone for the day. And when you wake up and you set intentions for your day, instead of waking up and falling into a reactionary state, the way your day flows is incredible. Most of my people do their workouts from home. This is a big time saver with minimal equipment. So you can see behind me, if you're watching on video, everything you need, like this is what my workouts consist of. Dumbbells, body weight, a bench, a step, stability ball, and resistance bands. Eliza, the one I was talking about, she worked out in her closet. And it's not that big. So if you want to make it happen, you will be open. So setting the intention of, and this is what I would ask you to do if you join me, be open to everything and attached to nothing. And this is another Wayne Dyer quote. Be open to everything and attached to nothing. And what does that mean? I'm going to be open to thinking differently. So when I make a suggestion as a coach to you, can you just be open to it? What would it look like for you to just try it? It may or may not work. You have every permission, bit of permission to go back to the way you were doing things. But being open and curious is a growth mindset. And if it doesn't work out, we will find something that will. Does that answer? It's a long answer to your question.
No. It absolutely does answer the question. And I want to ask you something that sounds very, because everybody hears it and thinks they understand it. I want to ask you, what is the definition of a routine and what is the definition of a schedule? And I'm going off track, but I feel that it's very important for the people to understand also in time allocation and what you just said, what that encompasses.
I'm going to answer that in regards to this is what I think it is. I'm not going to use like a Wikipedia definition.
Yes. So, no, according to you. Yes.
Yeah. According to Tiffany, routine for me. So when I think of my routine, it is my non-negotiables and boundaries, things that I do every day, even on my worst day, that has created this healthy circadian rhythm in me, which is very, very important for hormones as we age, is to doing things at the same time every day. And my husband can make fun of me sometimes. He's like, you're like a robot, but you can make your body crave the healthy things by doing them every single day. So for example, a lot of people, they crave that glass of wine after work. Okay. What triggered that? The time of day, walking into your house. So it's become your routine. These things that we are doing on autopilot unconsciously, whether they are healthy or unhealthy, that is your routine. It is your program. Okay. And you can create a program that supports you and your goals and the best version of you with some guidance, because I believe people are so stuck in their program. You can't, this is a great quote too. You can't read the label when you're inside the jar. You can't read. So when you're inside that jar, you can't see what maybe I can see.
Yes.
Right. So again, it's not your fault. You've just may have created a routine that's not very healthy. Okay. Because it's the things that we're doing over and over on autopilot by the subconscious, your subconscious mind. A schedule to me is my calendar. Like we had this podcast interview scheduled. I have client one-on-one Zooms scheduled. That means they may or may not happen every single day, but they're time blocks that fit into my routine.
Yes. You know what I love about what you just said, and it's almost a revelation, at least for me, is just that you brought up the fact that it's not a need. of drinking wine. It's not the need of drinking wine. It's the habit of drinking wine. It might have started as I need one, but now is your routine. So that means that you have the power of changing it if this is not something that you need every day. But since you don't question it anymore, and your body has just registered the fact that this is what you're supposed to do at that time.
Yes,
you can, like you said, reprogram the narratives. And I have never heard about anything like that before. I don't know.
That was so freeing to me. Like I truly believed I was never going to stop thinking about prescription pills, because I had a prescription pill addiction in my late 20s, or wanting to drink.
Yes.
And needing to drink, because I was still making money, helping people and getting things done. So I justified it because, I mean, life was pretty good until it wasn't, because I would go to bed most nights of the week praying that God would let me go to sleep and not wake up, where I would start this routine over again, right? Where you're just tired. And I've heard other women say it, so I'm sure your listeners can relate. But you have to replace a habit with a habit. And that is what I help my clients do. So, one of my recommendations for your listeners is to read the book Willpower Doesn't Work by Benjamin Hardy and Atomic Habits by James Clear, which Atomic Habits is brought up quite often in the personal development world, but Willpower Doesn't Work is not as much. Knowledge is power, and knowing the process of training your brain to create new habits. You have to replace the habit with a habit. So that's where just white knuckling it is not going to work.
Yeah. I want to add to the fact also that what you just said about feeling that sometimes it's too much and you can't keep up. Did you know that postpartum actually lasted 7 years?
I did not know that.
So it's off topic, but I wanted to bring that up. It's a lot of women have the impression that postpartum will actually last a year. And sometimes you are even more than 7 years in, but let's say that's 7 years. So whatever happens for the 7 years that follow you giving birth is going to be a major hit on your hormones, which affect directly your mental health. So back to once again saying having a routine and showing up for yourself, it's crucial because it can snowball into you not feeling like this is the right way to go anymore. So super important. I love that we're literally like talking about things that people are going through but never speak about. And this is a podcast about wellness and working out, just to let you know how important this is. It's incredible, but it's all linked. What would you suggest to somebody who would like to start with minimal equipment? You mentioned that you already described the minimal equipment they need, but what is a realistic plan for them so it can get them started?
Realistic is the key word, because to build, that confidence and self-worth and self-love, setting realistic goals that you can achieve, and then building off that has a compound effect. So just getting 1% better every day. So so when you join me, I would tell you, I want you to do my workout 3 times a week. And if you only have time for 20 minutes, you do 20 minutes. Like a little bit is better than 0.
Yes.
Okay. 1% better. So, and then we build off of that. My workouts take about 45 minutes to an hour. But if you were going from nothing, I would say do 1 set.
Yes.
I recommend for women, most women, full body workouts. I start most all of my clients, they're at all different fitness levels, with a full body workout with minimal equipment, like I said before, that you can do at home. And there's a ton of resources, on YouTube or everywhere. But actually, I'm going to give your listeners one of my workouts with a video so you can see what I'm talking about. Yeah. So it would be easier than me explaining, but just doing something small to start. And it may just be putting your workout clothes on.
Right? Go buy the cute outfit, put it on.
And that's that's it. That can be step one. And I think in Atomic Habits, it talks about that. There's a guy who was trying to incorporate working out. And for the first 3 weeks or so, it was like he just went to the gym, walked in and walked out. Like, don't discredit that, because we're rewiring the brain takes repetition, and neurons that fire together wire together. So just starting small and building off of that goes a long way.
You know what I love about what you just said also is that I'll tell you, maybe as a coach, you don't know, but I know a lot of people think like me. We are afraid to disappoint. So when there is accountability, what we think about is we have a chaperone. And if we do anything else than what we're supposed to do, or if we fail, then they're going to call us out on that. And the fear of disappointing the coach is greater sometimes than the will to want to get better. But what you just said is you cheer for every little transformation, movement, new decision, and it's all great. So I think this is what's missing also with coaches. They get frustrated. They want you to show up, and they're like telling you, but I'm trying to help you, like this is for you. This is not for me. And you're like, and this is, so I love that.
Yeah. And let's define accountability, because I think the way you just described accountability is how most people see it. But true accountability is, you have to show up, and I'm available when you come to me.
Oh, yeah.
I'm going to be there, but it's your responsibility to check in with me. I will not chase you. I will check on you, but I will not chase you, because my goal is to empower you to not need me one day. I want you to be self-motivated. And by empowering you, I'm going to give you the tools, but it's up to you to use them. And your success or your failure is not my responsibility either. My responsibility is to support you, cheer you on, validate you, save space for you, and provide you the tools that will get you there. But it's up to you to use them. And I had to really work on that, because I was absolutely a hero coach. I was doing exactly what you were saying. I was chasing, I was, begging, and that doesn't help anyone. And that was because of my own insecurity, because I wanted, that was a savior complex. That's a whole nother set of issues. So as I've matured in my coaching, I've learned that doesn't serve anyone. And so it's hard to truly empower someone to become radically transformed into the person they were created to be. Means me not doing everything for you.
Yes. Oh, that was beautiful. It really makes me think about how it reconciles the healthy part of a relationship with the healthy part of you wanting to improve your own health versus working with somebody who really cares about you and wants you to get healthy. Because at the end of the day, like you mentioned, you're breaking the triangle of like victim, aggressor, and then savior, right? You're completely out of that. Now the toxicity of the relationship is out. It's, I'm here for you, and it has to come from you. And what does he do? It allows you also to find the right time to finally seize that opportunity. Like, you're not forced. Nobody's pushing you to do something you don't want to. You're actually free to do it whenever it feels right.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's why this is such a process. When someone joins me, I require, at least a 90-day commitment, because I want to be able to work on you in real time, navigate obstacles that will arise. And that takes time.
Yes. Tell me more about the common mistake that people make when they're setting goals, fitness goals, and overall goals in for their health and fitness in general.
Focusing on the goal and not the journey. So they're so goal driven in result that they'll go all in and then they'll burn out because if they don't get results right away, fast enough, they quit because it's discouraging.
Yes.
And so I love this too. I'm all about quotes and mantras. Marry the process, divorce the results. Because when you can focus on just doing the next right thing and honoring the commitment that you're making to yourself, the goal will happen. Also setting realistic goals. So just for an example, for practical purposes, 1 pound to 2 pounds a week is healthy weight loss. 1 pound to 2 pounds a week is healthy weight loss. You may lose 4 pounds one week and none the rest of the month. On average. It doesn't mean you're going to lose 1 pound to 2 pounds every week. It's on average. And when I do goal setting, when a client does an onboarding Zoom with me when they first start, that's what I said, what do you think you're going to lose this first month? Let's talk about weight first. Really, I like to talk about mindset more because I know the weight will come off and the mind is what has to be changed first. But people are there to lose weight, so let's talk about it. And they'll tell me, and I learn right away whether their expectations are realistic because most of you have done some kind of quick fix fad diet where you lost 8 pounds of water the first week. And so that has set the stage for what you think should happen moving forward. We do not want to lose lean muscle. And so in order to have healthy weight loss and not lose muscle, 1 pound to 2 pounds a week is healthy weight loss. So being realistic, focusing on the process and the journey versus the results is crucial.
What you just said is actually very true. I've noticed a lot of, so everybody can relate, when you look at a popular figure, for example, Madonna, everybody knows when she gets into that diet mode and she decides to exercise to look younger. However, she doesn't look younger. She often looks completely deprived of food and way too slim for her age, which ages her even more.
Yes.
So can you tell me more about the importance of having lean muscle, how to keep muscle, and the longevity of the workout?
Yeah, so that's a lot in one question.
No, you go about it the way you want. We'll pick up later, even if it's...
Yeah, so the importance of muscle is it's as we age, I think around the age of 30, we lose about 1% of muscle mass every year unless we do something to reverse that.
Okay.
And so that's important to know that you are losing if you don't use it. Okay. Lean muscle is a metabolism booster and it's essential for health and longevity. Having lean muscle balances your hormones and it protects your joints and bones as well. And you look better and younger when you have more muscle.
Yes.
You just do. And you feel better. So what does that mean, metabolism booster? So you're going to burn more. I love getting into the science behind things too. We could do a whole nother podcast on that. But you're going to burn more calories when you're doing nothing at rest. So because I have a lot of muscle mass, I'm about 140 pounds and I average about, this is pretty low, but I work out like an athlete. So this is not typical for most women, about 12 to 13% body fat. That's pretty low. So I don't want any woman to think that they should be that. 20% is a good, healthy number for a woman. Very good. So because I have more muscle, someone that is 140 pounds but has a body fat percentage of closer to 30, my metabolism is going to be faster because it takes more energy for your body to maintain muscle mass than it does fat, which means I can eat more calories.
Oh, I see where you're getting at with this. Okay.
Yeah. So a lot of people, they're like, oh, my metabolism is slow. Well, it probably is because you don't have muscle or you don't have enough. So the more lean muscle you have, the higher your metabolism is. So therefore, you can afford to consume more calories if you are burning them. So that's a benefit, right? Of course, I still watch what I eat, but you're going to burn more calories at rest. So my resting metabolic rate is higher than someone who has maybe the same weight, but more body fat.
But that's wonderful. You're just telling us that if we exercise, we can eat more.
Yeah, that's a perk. Yeah, of course.
Okay. All right. So, and when you say lean muscle, so you're basically saying muscle, but not fat, like you just mentioned right now. So we are basically, how do we, do you want to tell us more, just a tiny something about your program about like building muscles so we can see what we can expect?
Yeah. So with the nutrition aspect, with my program, you get a 30-day meal plan every single month. I change up my clients' workouts every couple of weeks because I want to keep your body guessing. So as soon as you get comfortable with a workout, we change it up. I give them like a written copy and a video. We do one-on-one Zooms. It's kind of like having therapy with your fitness, with your workout. You couldn't pay me enough to work at a gym again because this model works so beautifully. You'd think, oh, well, how could I trust my client to do the workout without me standing over them? But when you build that connection and community, people do their workout and then they are so proud of themselves. But I have a community that for just my active clients where we have small group accountability Zooms. I give everyone a podcast like yours to listen to every week. And that's the topic of conversation. We live in the solution, not the problem. I do challenges. I keep everybody engaged. So my workouts are very effective and efficient. I do full body workouts because I want you to burn calories, but I also want you to build lean muscle, get stronger. So I do it in such a way where you don't rest a lot in between sets. It's not CrossFit. It's not anything crazy. I don't want you to feel like you're dying, but I want you to feel like you got your
workout.
Yeah. Like a HIIT workout. You can still do other cardio, but I'm going to assume that you're too busy to do more cardio. So I want you to get everything you need in my workout.
Yes.
If that makes sense.
Oh, it does make sense. And I'm going to bring something else into the mix because you spoke about mindset as well. So they're getting that too with everything you offer because this is one of your core value. You know, everything happens in the mind first. Do you feel like talking about something a little controversial?
Yes.
Such as GLP-1?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
What is your opinion on it? It's like in everybody's conversation right now with Ozempic and vice versa. Mm-hmm. What's your insight?
So I don't believe there's a one size fits all approach for everyone. I think they are a tool that can be used more so for people who are morbidly obese because there are risks and there are side effects that are negative from using them.
Okay.
I don't like how, I'm going to word this carefully, most of the people using GLP-1 medications or most of the time when they're used and they don't do resistance training and change their diet and their lifestyle, up to 40% of the weight that you're losing is muscle. So then you become what I call skinny fat. You are squishy and soft, but you're skinny. And that's where people are getting the Ozempic face, where it's drawn in and they look older. Their hair is not as healthy. But there are people who use it correctly to maybe get on track, get some momentum. They're getting enough protein. They're working with a coach, a counselor. I think it can be used responsibly. It is meant to be used short term, not long term. And I think going back to, for me, phentermine diet pills were very, very popular when I was in my 20s and I became addicted to them. I was taking them because I didn't want to overeat and they gave me a lot of energy. And so I think there's always risk for abuse with any type of drug that suppresses your appetite. But there are people who can benefit from them that need a little bit of a jump start, some help. If used responsibly, I can support it, but most people are not using it responsibly. And to lose that last 20 pounds, I don't agree with that. I think people are just being lazy when they do that.
I love your answer. I said I love a lot today, but it's the truth. It's the most honest answer anybody has ever given me. You spoke about losing muscles, not weight. Even if it's both, you're actually depriving your body from what it needs to stay healthy, especially when you're older. Now we really have to think about keeping those muscles, right? We don't want to lose them.
Yeah.
You spoke about the fact that this is a medication that's given without coaching to follow up. So now you have the instruction of how to take it and what will happen, but you just have nobody to monitor that for you and make sure that you're healthy. So basically, this is not the job that your physician needs to do. It's like get a coach. I love that as well. And I love the fact that you mentioned when to take it and who should take it, because they are prescribing this to everybody.
Everybody. If I knew, and I could probably manipulate a questionnaire and also get it.
Yeah, absolutely.
If I wanted to. And the old me probably would have done that, to be honest with you. So I can see how someone in desperation could turn to this. So no judgment at all. But you will probably gain the weight back. There will be negative side effects. You will lose muscle. And then you will feel shame and depression. And it will absolutely affect your self-worth and your mindset.
Like any quick fix. It leaves you with the hope that everything will be fixed after taking this one pill or doing this one thing. And then because you reject the long-term work that you need to do. And then at the end of the day, you realize it wasn't worth it. So super cool, because I love also, once again, the fact that you said it's okay, but within this frame.
Yeah.
And talking about nutrition, I know this is a big part of your program. Would you recommend certain supplements, vitamins, or do you think we can find everything in the everyday food we eat?
So I am a big supporter of biohacking and supplements.
Okay.
Big supporter. So that would be a whole nother podcast too. But let's start with the basics for the average person starting out on a health journey. I think most of us don't get enough protein from our food. So a good whey protein is important. Collagen protein does not do the same thing as whey protein.
Okay.
It doesn't. To build muscle, support muscle growth, recovery, and repair, whey protein is best. And there's tons of podcasts and information out on that. So a good whey protein, amino acids, branched chain amino acids are very, very important. Some of them we can't get from food. And then most of the time we're not eating enough like red meats and things to get the sufficient amount that we need. And so there are some great companies. Make sure you are researching what company you're using. If they are NSF certified, NSF, it'll be a stamp on the label. That means it is a clean, well-tested product. So okay. I would not buy any supplement that is not NSF certified.
Okay.
So amino acids, whey protein, and whether you're working out or not, these are, even if you're just doing a walk, even if you're minimal, like you still can use these. Electrolytes. Electrolytes are very, very, very important. That is the very first thing that I put into my body. Most people are over drinking water, and it depletes your trace minerals. And most of the time it will dehydrate you, because people have been preached, drink a gallon of water. You can actually overhydrate on plain water and dehydrate yourself, because it'll wash out. It'll wash out trace minerals that you need, like sodium, magnesium, potassium, things like that. So electrolytes are very, very important. I recommend, and I do not make any money off of this company, you can buy them on Amazon. Ultima Replenisher is my favorite electrolyte. And I recommend that. And I drink it several times a day. So you can't really overdrink it. But electrolytes, amino acids, and whey protein. And I take multivitamins and things like that.
Okay.
So, but that's, again, where you want to create a circadian rhythm and do your supplements at the same time every day.
What does that do?
So your body processes them better. You're more likely to remember to take them. Any kind of supplement that you use, you have to be consistent. So if I have it built into my routine, I'm doing it on autopilot. So I take prescription medications at the same time. I drink my electrolytes at the same time every day. I have a mocktail that I drink at 6:30 every night that has magnesium and apple cider vinegar in it. So doing it, your body will crave it. You won't forget it. And then your body, they work better when you take them at the same time every day.
Oh, I had no idea. Mm-hmm. We spoke about nutrition. We spoke about routine and what a program has to offer. More than that, you also offer, like I mentioned a few times, mindset. Do you want to tell us more about why is mindset, so important for your transformation?
So like I said before, most of us we are going about our day doing everything on autopilot. So about 95%, maybe a little bit more, of what we do takes place in our subconscious mind, which means we're like, we drive our car and we're like, we could probably almost do it with our eyes closed.
Yes.
Most things we're just on autopilot. So we're not having to think about them. So in order to truly transform that self-sabotage loop or starting over, you have to rewire your brain. And so this is where if you're listening, I want to encourage you to first start thinking about what you are thinking about. So I want you to think about what you're thinking about. So that's how we bring the subconscious conscious. Humans have the gift of metacognition, and that means that we have the ability to think about what we're thinking about. We can do that where other animals cannot. So awareness is the first step in any transformation. And I also love changing your perspective. So this is mindset. When you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. What you focus on grows. Where you place your attention is where you place your energy. You will always find what you're looking for. So in my mindset coaching, I help people focus on wins. How are they winning? I have an app that is it's a win app where people share their wins, and it's an iPhone app. So by looking for wins all throughout the day, it gets your reticular activating system in your brain to constantly see a win everywhere. So I'm training my mind to find a win in everything, like my conversation about the airport. I use this tactic. What did it make possible? Because my flight was canceled, so I was telling Sara about it. Like, it was a horrible experience, but I turned it into a good one. What did it make possible and what did I learn? That's mindset. So all of these things are done in our one-on-one sessions. There's a workbook that goes with my program, and it's just so important because that's where true lasting transformation changes. And when your mindset shifts, it helps you personally overcome trauma and build resilience.
Why do I feel that everybody should ditch their therapist and come to you?
Because I'm really good and I've lived it. Like I live a congruent life. Like this is my heart. I never tell anyone to do anything I wouldn't do first. So living a congruent life. So if you are picking a coach and it's not me, make sure that they are congruent and they are doing everything that they are telling you to do.
Once again, I'm going to push again the fact that your book says a lot about who you are. I recommend it to anybody who's looking to, first of all, just connect with the truth. If not about themselves, connect with somebody who actually connected with their truth. I read it, so I know where a lot of that comes from. And I want to ask you a question. Would you be open in this podcast to share a little more about everything that you've converted into what you share with us today?
Give me an example. Where do you want me to start?
Do you want to share with us how you overcame trauma and how you converted trauma into now a mission and a legacy?
So you know that anything is possible. And I believe that by helping you, whoever is listening, I get to keep what I have. And so I believe that if you don't give a gift away, then you can't keep it. So my pain has become my purpose. And I believe that you're most qualified to help the person that you used to be. And as long as I'm helping people, that keeps me alive. And I look at it that seriously, right? So physical abuse, sexual abuse, married 4 times by the time I was 29. I was addicted to prescription drugs. I'm alcoholic. I have 3 years of sobriety now. I was forced to have an abortion when I was 17. I found out my dad wasn't my real dad when I was 29. I was conceived by an anonymous sperm donor from a sperm bank. And it was like finding out I was adopted. And it was after I told my uncle in a counseling session that my half-brother raped me. He said, well, your dad wasn't your real dad. Like that justified it. So much stuff. But I'm so grateful for every single bit of it, because now I have the gift of empathy. And I am still a work in progress with my people, my clients, and I am on the journey with them. And God literally gave me tools like wins, my paragraph. And I have this all in the last chapter of my book. A lot of my tools are in my listening to podcasts, creating an environment that supports my goals, cutting people out of my life, kind of like what we were talking about before we started.
Yes.
Even some family members, setting boundaries like non-negotiables. All of those things are so important. And because I've lived it, who better to help someone else do it?
Yes. This is a personal question because and it's completely, once again, off track, but I wanted to ask you, for somebody who suffers from addiction, regardless of what the addiction we're talking about, what is the one tip that you would give them?
So in the end of my addiction, I knew that I needed to quit, but I didn't want to yet. I wasn't ready. I believe, and this is going to be a tip, but first, I believe that the universe will whisper to you what you need, and if you ignore it, then it will scream. Because I ignored it and I wasn't ready. In order to be ready, I hit a bottom where I tried to kill myself. That's what it took for me to get to where I was. But I had to come out of denial and admit that I was powerless over my addiction. And that's the first step in a 12-step program. So just coming out of denial and admitting that you're powerless and telling someone, because as soon as you can bring darkness to light, someone that's safe, that you feel safe telling, that's very important. Don't just tell anyone, because some people will use it against you. But first, being honest with yourself and then with someone else is super important. And if you have the opportunity for any addiction to go to any kind of treatment, do it.
What would be a good way for someone who wants to relapse, and because life is hard and it will never stop being hard, to not go back to the bad old habits?
Yeah, that's tricky because every addiction comes with a different cost and consequence. I work with a lot of food addicts and sugar addicts, and that is one of the hardest addictions to overcome because it's so easy to let overtake you because it's not illegal. There's not really fast consequences. You can get away with it. It's socially acceptable. Really, the obesity epidemic is, the new norm is people being overweight, so you can kind of hide it. Relapse starts when you start thinking about it. And so knowing how addiction and the brain works is super important. So educating yourself, and that's part of what I do in my program too, is educating on why am I craving this? What can I do to create an environment that supports my goals? So if you're in a place where you could possibly relapse, you need to get everything out of your house that would trigger you to relapse. And support groups, 12-step groups, they even have them online. The more you talk about it and you have some sort of program to go to, the better. Relapse happens, but you are not a failure unless you give up. So you just pick back up and you try again.
Oh, I love that. And in this, I'm going to say, because you brought up a very good example of sugar and overeating, in this gluttonous society where we overconsume because it's available and we are just we're blessed with a lot of abundance, but then there is a lot of abuse. How can someone resist without feeling like they're cutting off all the joy?
First, changing your relationship with food is super important. Food is fuel. It is not entertainment. So
yes,
change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. Now, do I enjoy ice cream and cake and things like that? Yes, but now I can trust myself. But in the beginning, to not go into binge eating, but in the beginning, I was a little more rigid and I did not eat anything that would trigger uncontrollable cravings. Yes. So there's a way to help with cravings like hydration. What are you eating? And so that's where the nutrition piece comes in my program, because that will help you have more self-control.
Yes.
Knowing that willpower doesn't work. So, if you love peanut butter or chips, you cannot have those in your house. Your children don't need them either. Your husband doesn't need them either. So I would encourage
everybody has to be part of it.
Throw them away. Yeah.
You can't do it on your own. And this is one of the first steps of being open, right?
And you don't have to.
Somebody. Yeah.
Yeah. You don't have to.
It doesn't serve you, doesn't do anything to your body. So, and it prevents your children and your family from also having bad habits. So, that's pretty amazing. Tiffany, you also organize getaways, or it's coming very soon, wellness getaways, where women and men too?
Yeah.
Is it
yeah,
mixed?
We have,
Okay.
Yeah, we have
It's a
husbands
mixed
and
group?
wives. Yep.
Perfect. And do you want to tell us more about that? I'm excited about that.
Yeah, so we do a health and wellness retreat every year. Our first year was last year.
So you're
we did
already
it.
doing it.
Yeah, so we
Okay.
did it in the mountain in the mountains in Tennessee. We did a retreat. It's called a line retreat. So that's our theme. This year we're doing it on a cruise. So we'll see how that goes. I don't know if we'll go back to the mountains next year, but so we're doing that once a year, and it's very transformative because we get to just immerse kind of my tools in real life and community. I do meditations, we do workouts, we educate on nutrition and eating healthy, and we also have fun. We connect. My husband and I do some lecture type things that are very good. Communication and healthy conflict is very important. So we love to teach on that. All of these things help you become, the person that you were created to be, and live your best life and be joyful without feeling restricted, deprived, or punished. So we do that. And then every now and then, a few times a year, I'll do a 30-day hormone reset group that just started a week ago. So I'll probably do another one, probably in 3 to 4 months, but it's a good way to sample my program in a group coaching setting.
That's wonderful. And how to reach out to you and get access to the podcast, your book, your website. Tell us more about how to connect with you.
Yeah. So I told you when we started that I wanted to give your listeners a free gift. I think what you're doing is such an important mission, and that inspires me to give back too. So I think this is a good time to share that. If this episode spoke to you, or you're just looking for a little bit of guidance, or you're tired of starting over every Monday and self-sabotaging, this is for you, men or women, but mostly I coach women 40 plus, high achieving women, pre and postmenopausal. So the gift is a hormone reset starter kit. You're going to get, and this only my paying clients get this, so this is, you want it. You're going to get one of my workouts, and I'll give you a video to go with it, an instructional video. I'll give you a sample meal plan of kind of what it looks like whenever you join me, and a free one-on-one strategy Zoom to talk to you. And it's going to be with me about what your next steps may be in your journey, or if you have questions or you want to learn more about something. And I love connecting with people. So to get that, I want you to DM me on my website. It's CoachTiffanyOwen.com, CoachTiffanyOwen.com. DM me the word reset, and I'll know that it came from you listening to this podcast. I am also very active on Facebook. I'm Tiffany Owen on Facebook. You can DM me there too, the keyword reset, and I'll personally respond to it. And Instagram, I'm Coach Tiffany Owen.
That's wonderful. I'm just going to say something here. If you hear this at the beginning of the podcast and you wonder why we started the podcast that way, it's because I don't want anybody to miss on this opportunity. So the podcast is now ending. However, it will start soon for whoever is now starting the podcast. And these gifts are offered by Tiffany Owen. She's an amazing coach. She will get you into aligning with your goals, your mindset. She is looking to literally help you heal from inside out. She has amazing practices, and you are a wonderful person, a beautiful soul. So seize the opportunity. Please connect with her. Tiffany, it was a pleasure. And I'm going to add everything in the description down below. I want to add that if you didn't have a pen and paper to write that down, make sure to connect with Tiffany, please, because once again, I back you on everything you do. You're an amazing person. And I will also add a link to the book. This is a very transformative, deeply personal and powerful book. You don't want to miss that, honestly. Thank you so much, Tiffany, for being here with us today.
Thank you.
Thank you for sharing your wisdom Thank you for sharing your personal story, being open, being real, honestly.
Thank you.
I think that a lot of people sometimes put on a mask and try to overdo things. And you're so, once again, true to yourself. This is who we get. This is what I got each time. It's her. That's her. Thank you so much.
And if you go to my social media page, I'm very vulnerable there too. So
it's amazing. Thank you so much, Tiffany,
Thank
again.
You, Sarah.
Thank you for being here today with us.